Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going off to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This is the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, 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 way down in the back.
TA. We are live. Welcome into the Tigers Avenue show. March Madness is upon us. It is happening and occurring right now. Zach, I currently have the Arkansas game to my left here. And it looks like the Arkansas Razorbacks are going to pull off the victory over the Kansas Jayhawks. Be a big win for the SEC there. Nice. March Madness is upon us, and I love March Madness. Although basketball is not my favorite sport, I cannot deny that I believe that March Madness is the greatest college sports event that there is, period. It brings the most attention and energy and upsets and wow moments more than any other event in college sports by far. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's the greatest sporting event in the world. I'd have to give that to the World Cup, but I think March Madness is right behind the World Cup in the greatest sporting events that happen on this planet. It is a close second. And you've already seen some of the madness that going on. Alabama State, the very, very first game of March Madness, wins on a buzzer beater. McNeese State and the Will Wade Bayou Bandits has knocked off his alma mater, Clemson, the 5 seed. The score was only a 2-point game, I believe, but at halftime, they were absolutely dominating Clemson. It was 31, I think, to 13 at half. Pretty crazy. I love it, Zach. I love March Madness. I love watching all the ball games. It's a lot of fun. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. Obviously, we're going to give you a weekend preview. Tigers have a huge, huge, huge matchup this weekend. By far your biggest test.
As well as the Lady Tigers in basketball.
As well, yes. As well as the Lady Tigers as well. Also, this is really your first true road test of the season. You've played at neutral sites, but you really haven't gone on the road yet. I'm trying to think. No, because Nichols got rescheduled, and we ended up playing them in Alex Box. So, yeah, this is your first true road test, big-time, top 10 matchup in the SEC against the Texas Longhorns. So, obviously, we're going to give you a preview of that. And we'll give you a quick recap of the midweek game as well. LSU took care of business against the UNO Privateers in dominant fashion. Walking it off in the 7th for the run rule was Ethan Fry, 11-1 for the Tigers. It was another, Zach, dominant game for the midweek. And excuse me, sorry, I had to sneeze quickly. It's just dominant, and I didn't want to sneeze right into my mic, so I
didn't know what was happening. I was like, did we lose him?
No, I had to sneeze really quick. But LSU, they have done in the midweek what you really just want your team to do every single midweek game. And the last 2 weeks, that's what they've done. They've won in dominant fashion. They've far overpowered their opponent, and you saved some of your pitching by getting the run rule and getting out of there early.
Mhm.
Certainly, Zach, we need to talk about the pitching because there was some. Again, it's UNO, but UNO has a solid lineup. But there were some pretty great things that you saw on Tuesday night from a couple guys, namely Jaden Newt. But needless to say, it was a great game for the LSU Tigers. You got another victory, 11-1, and you move on to the weekend. Zach, the biggest story for me was Jaden Newt, and 4 innings of really, really, really good pitching. He started off with a walk, and then I think it was single after that. And so with 2 guys on and the single, that drove in a run. It was 1-0, Zach, with 0 outs. And you're thinking, okay, this just got dicey really quickly. And if you're not careful, you could find yourself in a situation like you did with North Dakota State, where it just feels like the game was reeling. Jaden Newt, after giving up walk, single, it's 1-0, goes 1-2-3, punch out, strikes out the side, Zach. And from there, Zach, he really put it in cruise control.
Yeah.
He allowed those 2 hits in that first inning and only 2 more hits his entire outing. Only the 1 run, only the 1 walk from the first inning, struck out 5 in 4 innings, was just very, very efficient in his outing. Only 67 pitches in 4 innings. It was a great outing from him. That's something you want to see more consistently from some of these guys who haven't quite found themselves in a role yet. That was very impressive. And then Jacob Myers, that comes in, and he did allow 1 walk, but he had 4 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3.
Yeah, he looked like he's progressed the last couple of outings.
Absolutely. I mean, Zach, you're talking about 5 outs, and 4 of them he got by strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was really good, and he's obviously last year he led the country in strikeouts, but he also led the country in walks. So, trying to work on getting that walk count down. He had the 1 walk, but 4 strikeouts. Cooper Williams comes in, and he does well as well. He was solid as well. No walks, and that's what you want to see. Cooper's been struggling with walks a little bit. Comes in, gets a strikeout in an inning and a third. Only 2 hits, no walks. That's what you want to see out of your relief pitching. Throwing the ball across the plate and not putting free passes on. So pitching-wise, it was fantastic, Zach. It was exactly what you needed for a midweek game. And you got length from Jaden Newt, and you didn't expect to really get that. And so that was a pleasant surprise. Zach, they responded quickly. Jared Jones hits an absolute nuke.
450.
I mean, an absolute bomb. 450 feet to tie the game very quickly in the next inning, or in the bottom half of the inning. And from there, you were off. Zach, it's pretty much official. Arkansas is going to win this game against Kansas now. It got a little dicey, but they've kind of sealed the deal now. They're shooting free throws to ice the game. Zach, other than that, I mean, you had Jared Jones, who kind of coming out of the weekend, first SEC weekend, didn't have his best performance. Well, he goes out there and responds with 4 hits for 5 at-bats. He scored 3 runs. He had 3 RBIs. That's the kind of day you expect Jared Jones to have against UNO, and he does it. Derek Curiel was very close to losing his on-base streak for every single game, but he kept it alive in the nick of time at his last at-bat, getting that double. So I was happy to see him extend. But Zach, Ethan Fry, how do you, Zach? I want you to kind of elaborate more on this. What in the world do you do with this lineup? It feels like when you bring a guy in, they produce.
Well, I mean, I think you just have to kind of keep doing what they've been doing. I mean, it seems like it's been working really well. When there is a righty on the mound, Josh Pearson has been really good. And when there's a lefty on the mound, Ethan Fry has been really good. So, I think you just keep mixing it up, Reagan. Now, what does that look like once you get deeper into SEC play? What does that look like when you're in the postseason? I don't know yet. But right now, it's working.
Yeah.
Ethan Fry came in against Missouri, had really great performance. Josh Pearson did well against Missouri. I mean, I just don't think really you can just take a guy out. I mean,
Yeah.
you have the luxury, Reagan, of being able to pinch hit for somebody
Yep.
when you want a matchup and you have a ton of confidence that the hitter at the plate can deliver and
Yep.
change the game. And, even though as UNO, Fry had a great weekend, as I just said, and so continued his success here. Didn't start the game. Pearson started the game, and then Fry gets a pinch hit opportunity and delivers twice with 2 home runs. Really kind of put the game to bed there in the 5th inning, making it a 9-1 ball game, and then was able it went Oppo, by the way, went Oppo in that first home run, and then gets one to the pool side to walk it off there in the 7th. So LSU's offense, Reagan, they're just really good. I mean,
Very good.
they're tops in the nation, Reagan. They're near the top in the nation. They're top in the SEC in batting average. They're batting like, I think, what is it, Reagan, like 340 something or something like around that. It's around that, somewhere in that
345.
345.
Number 1 in the
Yeah.
SEC.
They're number 1 in the SEC in batting average. I mean, they're just really good. And sometimes, Reagan, when you see, and this goes with all sports, sometimes you have a mass amount of talent and you're just not able to figure out like what's best. I mean, a really good explanation is last year for LSU's women's basketball, right? You had Anissa Morrow, Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, Michaela Williams, Flage Johnson. I mean, talent-wise, it's hard to argue that talent-wise across the board, you were the best, most talented team in women's college basketball, but they just had the issue of trying to figure out how do we carve out all these roles. And for the most part, it didn't really work out as well as we thought it was, right?
Sure.
So, and some of that was depth, but anyways, that's a good example. You can have a team that has incredible talent across the board and it does not come together because you've got so many pieces that you're trying to figure out. You're trying to figure out what roles they're going to have. So we've seen it fail, but I feel like right now, so far what we've seen from this LSU baseball team is that it's working. Jay Johnson knows when to put certain players into certain situations, and it's paying dividends for this LSU baseball team. So I fully expect we're going to continue to see a rotation there in the outfield and a rotation there at the DH position in the lineup, and possibly some more rotation there at third base. Kind of seems like they're going to lean on Michael Braswell's experience there in the SEC games, but allow Tanner Reeves to continue to work and have an opportunity to play at third base. Obviously, he got the start on Tuesday night and had a pretty good night. He did get a hit. He was 1 for 2. So he also he got a hit, but he also drew 2 walks on Tuesday night. So he has continued to get on base, whether it's via the plate discipline or getting hits. So he's continued to be impressive over at third base. So it's just a lavish of riches, Reagan. And luckily, Jay Johnson has handled it really, really well.
Yeah. It feels like Jay Johnson knows what he's doing.
Oh,
feels like
really?
he gets paid the big bucks because he like always makes the right decision. I trust Jay Johnson with anything, dude. Like, I seriously have all the confidence and faith in the world for Jay Johnson.
And think about this, Reagan. When LSU played Missouri, I'll go back to the third base conversation, right? When
Yeah.
LSU played Missouri, their 3 starting pitchers all pitched from what side, Reagan?
The left side,
The left side. So who did he go with at third base?
Michael Braswell.
Michael Braswell, a right-handed hitter. So do you see Tanner Reeves start some SEC games whenever it comes to a right-handed pitcher that starts the game?
Maybe so.
I think it's possible. I think it's very possible.
Certainly.
Now he did leave Josh Pearson in there during the weekend. Oh, sorry, knocked my mic over. During the weekend, but at that point, like, you just couldn't take Josh Pearson out. Like, he was just in fuego, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was on fire, and so but Fry still got appearances on the weekend. So, Reagan, you're going to see a rotation at those spots. Do we see Reeves more this upcoming weekend versus Texas? We'll see.
Probably not, because you got 2 left-handed pitchers to start off.
But do you see him? Do you see him on Sunday? Do you see him start Sunday?
Potentially, yeah.
Right, maybe, probably. I would say probably, because we've seen that Jay, he wants to go with the matchups.
Sure.
Unless you have a situation like Josh Pearson or Jake Brown, where it's just like, okay, we just can't take this guy out.
They're not coming out. They're not coming out. Yeah.
There could be that situation, which I think Jake Brown's kind of that guy. Like, it doesn't matter who it is, left-handed, right-hander, like, he's going to stay in the lineup. But Josh Pearson, Ethan Fry, Tanner Reeves, Michael Braswell, those 4 guys I feel like are kind of really interchangeable.
Yes.
For Jay, very much so. And I think it really depends on who's pitching, who's going to start the game. So they had a righty that started for UNO. Tanner Reeves got the start. They had 3 lefties that started for Missouri. Michael Braswell got the start. So I don't know, Reagan. We'll see what happens this weekend. As you said, they do have 2 more left-handers, so I would imagine we're going to see Michael Braswell again on Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
Let's see what happens Sunday. Let's see if Jay goes to Tanner Reeves on Sunday whenever you have that righty on the mound.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, Reagan.
Obviously, we'll get into all the details of their pitchers here in a moment. But yeah, as of right now, Texas has 2 left-handers for Friday, Saturday. We don't know Sunday yet. So if it is a right-hander, we'll see. I'll be interested. But they are to be determined on Sunday starter. Anyways, Zach, another thing that I want to point out about the Tuesday night game was Cade Arambidi. You're starting to see growth there. Now, I get, like, everybody, yes, he hit a home run, and it was like a bomb. I mean, it really was a bomb. And he's done that, 3 times now? That was his 3rd home run, I think, on the season.
Ethan Fry?
No. I'm talking about Cade Arambidi.
Oh, Cade Arambidi. You're right. Sorry. Yeah.
I think that was his 2nd or 3rd.
It was a second.
And we've seen the power. Pretty much the home runs I've seen from him were no doubters. They weren't like question marks. You knew it was gone.
Yeah, both of them were like, all right.
Power. The dude has power. There's no doubt. Tuesday night you saw it again. But that's not really what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is that the dude was behind the plate the whole game. And there was not a single time, guys, not one single time that a ball got past him when there were runners on the base.
He's progressing well.
And specifically in the 1st inning, when pressure was on early, when you went, Newt went walk, single, and you've got to run in already, you got 2 guys on base and no outs. There were many times that Newt was putting the breaking ball down and he was blocking it up. And he was keeping it in front of him with guys on the base. So you're seeing the growth there. You hope that continues to happen. I still think Luis Hernandez is your guy for the length of this year. Now, like we said multiple times, there could become a moment where Aaron Beatty just catches fire and maybe it's like you just can't keep him out. Maybe. But as of right now, I think Luis is your guy and Aaron Beatty is going to get the starts like in midweek, maybe Sunday games when you've already won the series, which I'm perfectly fine with. Like if we win on Friday, Saturday, if I was Jay Johnson, again, I'm not Jay Johnson, but if I was Jay Johnson, I'd give Aaron Beatty the ball, or I'd let him start behind the plate. But I am pleased with the progression that you've seen from Aaron Beatty because early on in the season, it was rough. It was really rough. You've seen some growth there, and if he can produce power at the plate like he shows, I think the contact has got to come along a little bit more. But there's obviously clearly some upside there. What's up, dude? Zeke, it's Zeke's bedtime.
Good night, Zeke. Congrats on the all A's.
Yes, all A's on the report card. Aren't y'all so proud? So proud.
That's awesome.
Love you, buddy. You have a good sleep, okay? He's just staring at the screen right now. That's basketball over there. I got some of the March Madness on. Love you, buddy.
Love you, Zeke. Bye.
Okay.
Night, bud.
Anyways, with that being said, Aaron Beatty, I've been pleased with what I've seen the last few times he's been out. It's been much better. So that was. Oh, and we already talked about it, but Ethan Fry, he was awesome. Two at bats, 2 home runs, and he's the one who capped it off with the shot to end the game. I was thrilled. I was like, just put in the seats and in this game. Like, yeah, it's over. Just end it. And when it went out, I was like, praise God, cut it off.
I can go to bed.
Game over. Ball game over. I like. There's a part of me that's like I have to watch every bit of this, but it's over with. So let's end it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I always watch till the end, no matter what. So
like it's through. Let's just put it in the seats and in this thing. And thankfully, Ethan put them out of their misery. Send them home. I will say this. I hate that Blake Dean isn't on over there anymore.
Yeah, it's a little.
I still wish it was Blake Dean. I don't know what he pursued, but he's not even coaching anymore. He pursued some kind of new business, something other. I don't know. I always loved playing to see Blake Dean because Blake Dean. I mean, he was a legend, LSU legend, national champion against the Texas Longhorns. Speaking of the Texas Longhorns,
there you go.
You see the transition there? That was perfect.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. That was good.
By the way, Zach, okay, I want to say this up front before we dive into the details of LSU and Texas. We are going to Texas, and we're going to Norman. Okay, I hate number one that we drew both roads. That's one thing. The second thing is Texas for as much money as the Texas Longhorns have, and as successful of a program they are, they have the stupidest looking baseball field. It is so stupid looking. Yeah, I hate it. I would it's all turf, obviously, and then it has the little spots at the bases. It looks so dumb. I hate it. If you're gonna go all turf, make it look do the full dirt look like Vanderbilt. I way like what LSU has. I love the actual dirt way more. What Texas has looks so stupid, so dumb. I hate it, and that will be on full display obviously, this week.
And they almost they had to go to extras on Tuesday night. Got a little dicey for a lot of SEC teams
It
on
did.
Tuesday night. Tennessee
Not just dicey.
loses.
Dropped it. That's
Tennessee
right.
loses to East Tennessee in extra innings. Texas
No
had to
more
go.
undefeated.
Texas had to go to the 11th, I think it was, to beat UTSA.
No, they
I didn't
lost.
see. Huh?
Texas lost.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
UTSA beat them. Yes, they did.
Are you sure? I thought it was 7-4
100%.
the final, Texas.
No, it was 8-7 UTSA.
Oh shoot. You are right.
Yes, sir.
What did I
Yes,
look
sir.
at? I must have looked at a different score. I'm looking at
Yes,
it
sir.
now. They did lose 8-7 and 12.
Tennessee and Texas lost. That's correct. That is correct.
Wow. Oklahoma almost lost to UT Arlington.
That's right. Ole Miss lost to Southern Miss, which I'm not surprised by that.
Ole Miss lost to Southern Miss. That's not really that surprising.
No.
Let's see. Vanderbilt, fine. Auburn survived. Bama had to hit a walk-off in the 10th inning against South Alabama.
They did.
Arkansas struggled with Oral Roberts. They won 4-1, but that game was tight
But
for most of the way.
the next day, they played them 2 days in a row. On Wednesday, they slaughtered Oral Roberts.
Yeah, it was 16-0 and 7. Yep.
They scored, Zach, they scored 12 runs in 1 inning.
Yeah.
12. 12 of the 16 runs in 1 inning.
They put that one to bed pretty quickly. So, wow, Reagan, I swear when I got up the next morning on Wednesday morning to check the score, I saw 7-4.
So what time did you wake up? That's the question.
Yeah, I looked at something wrong. Let's see. So
like
I had you gotta tell me what happened, because wasn't it 4-4?
No, it was 6-6. It was 6-6.
Maybe ESPN sometimes is capping. ESPN sometimes the app is a little haywire. Maybe that's what it was.
Out every now and then. Yeah, maybe so. But it was 6-6. UTSA hit a home run to make it 7-6. I don't remember how Texas tied it, but they did. I was watching it when it happened, but I just don't remember off the top of my head how it happened. Texas, they tied. They went to extras. They hit a home run. Texas hit a home run. That's what it was. Texas hit a home run to tie it 7-7. And then in extras, UTSA hit another solo home run in the top of the 12th. And
there you go.
Put Texas away.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Texas is going to be a little hungry coming into this one.
So, yeah, what's kind of crazy is the best win streaks on Tuesday, Tennessee, Texas, and LSU had the biggest win streaks in college baseball. Tennessee was undefeated. They were like 20-0. They lost. Texas had 16 straight wins, and LSU had 15. And in one night, LSU became the top of that. Like, now we are the leader for most active win streak.
Yeah.
The winning streak. Anyway, but I will say this, Zach, I was more excited about seeing Tennessee lose than Texas lose. I was much more excited about that. I really could care less that Texas lost. It really doesn't mean much to me. I actually kind of think in our discussion, we'll see why I don't think their frontline pitching is good. Their pitching is not very deep, and so I think that's why they dropped that game. And East Tennessee State is a pretty solid team. They're like 17-3, I think, on the season. Anyways,
and they have the home run leader in the nation.
Or UTSA, sorry, not East Tennessee.
East Tennessee though has the home run leader.
Yes, he has like 12 home runs in the season. So, anyways, so Texas. I was getting mixed up with Texas and Tennessee there for a minute. You're going to Austin. Regardless of how stupid their field looks, it's going to be a tough test. You're on the road for the first time. It's a top 10 matchup. They are coming off of a loss. This is going to be the best two pitchers that you have faced by far all season. Zach, this is going to be a bit of a reverse from Missouri. Missouri was a better hitting team. They were a really bad pitching team. Texas offense is not bad, but it's not that great. They have not scored a lot of runs in a lot of games. I think the most runs they've scored in a game was 10 against Louisville in like the second game of the season. No, they lost their first game of the season to Louisville. They scored like 10-0 against like the second game of their season. Anyways, but a lot of their games, they have not scored a ton of runs. I was scrolling through their schedule earlier in the week, and I was looking at it, and I was like, they really haven't like dominated and put up
had like a marquee win.
Right. Even when they were playing, in their non-conference schedule. I'm not trying to downplay them, but their offense is not near what LSU's is. Yeah. Not near it. However, their pitching is very good, and it is certainly comparable to LSU's. Their first two pitchers are probably – they have a better ERA, both their first pitchers, but our pitchers have more strikeouts. So it kind of balances, and you have the better offense. So I do like LSU's chances. I'll say that off the top. Friday night's matchup, Zach, is Cade Anderson, obviously. He's got a 2.57 ERA, 8 walks on the season, 48 Ks. Jared Spencer, left-hander for Texas. He has a slightly lower ERA of 2.36. He has 10 walks on the season, so 2 more than Cade, and he only has 36 strikeouts, so 12 less strikeouts than Cade. But the ERA is slightly lower than Cade's is. Solid Friday night, big-time SEC arm. Then the next day, Anthony Ianson with a 3.90 ERA, 40 strikeouts, 6 walks, and he's going to face the left-hander Luke Harrison, who, Zach, has a 2.08 ERA. A 2.08 ERA. He has 10 walks on the season, so he's got more than Ianson, and he's only got 24 Ks on the season compared to Iason's 40.
Sounds like he's a pitch-to-contact guy.
Sure, yeah. But Sunday is Chase Shores. They've not announced their Sunday guy yet. And so that's kind of where I'll start the discussion, Zach, about this. Texas, again, their frontline pitching is good. It's really, really solid SEC caliber type stuff. Their bullpen has some very solid guys, but it is not very deep. It's not very deep. If this potent LSU offense can jump on Texas early, it's going to favor LSU very well. If Cade Anderson can do what he has been doing on Friday night, and your offense can find a way to get in their bullpen like third, fourth inning, you're going to set yourself up for a really good weekend because their bullpen is not deep. Again, they don't even know who their Sunday starter is. They're still trying to figure that out. And that's why for all the guys we've had this discussion with, Zach, having Chase Shores on Sunday is a huge advantage. A lot of teams don't have Chase Shores on Sunday.
Yeah.
Texas don't even know who their Sunday starter is. So that's advantage LSU. However, this is Cade Anderson's first time as a starter going into a hostile environment. It's first time for some of these other bullpen pitchers for LSU, some of these freshmen for LSU. This is going to be a big test. Like, sometimes you can look at the numbers, Zach. Oh, let me say this. So, again, their frontline pitching, really good. But LSU's offense, as we already said, is batting .345 on the season. That's first in the SEC. Zach, Texas's team batting average is below 300. They bat right now a .296 as a team. So it's slightly below 300, but still below 300. Zach, that's 10th in the SEC. That's 10th. So my point is, I think our pitching and our bullpen is good enough and deep enough to compete with their offense, who's not as potent. And I like our offense, who's the best so far in the SEC, against their frontline pitching. You can look at the number. That was my point, though. So you can always look at these numbers and make those assumptions. Stats are there for a reason. They help you kind of see a picture. But the thing about stats is it does not include emotions.
Yeah.
Stats do not factor in human emotions. Again, this is going to be a lot of first for a ton of guys. Anthony Ianson, Cade Anderson. Now, Cade has pitched in the SEC, but this is his first time being a Friday night starter in a hostile environment. I mean, Zach, you and I watched him pitch against Mississippi State in a hostile environment, and he didn't do so well last year. And we sat there and watched that, how the one game you beat Mississippi State last year almost got thrown away. And Cade really struggled. So has he matured enough? Has he taken a big enough step to walk into Texas where all the fans are not on your side and it's a big boy ball club that you're throwing to? It's not Missouri. It's Texas.
Yeah.
Right? Can Anthony Ianson, who came from UC San Diego, step into that kind of environment, right? Now, he's played in front of 11,000 fans, but they were all on his side. Can he do it? Can he handle it? We're going to find out. The stats say this favors LSU. They say it favors LSU. But the stats can't always tell the whole story, Zach. That's kind of my thought, my first line thoughts, Zach, for this weekend. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a big matchup, Reagan. But I do agree with you. I think when you look at all the different factors that come into this matchup, it seems to favor LSU. You know, I would lean towards LSU getting 2. I think Friday night is going to be massive for this team. And I know last week when we did our preview, I talked about the importance of when your guys out of the bullpen come into their first appearance of the weekend. You really need Cade to extend for you. You know, last weekend I talked about how you would really like to try and hold Zach Cowan until Sunday. This weekend, I think he should probably be maybe the first guy out of the bullpen. And then you go to Case and Evans. You got to go all in for Friday because you know that there is a mismatch on Sunday with not knowing who Texas is going to throw. Maybe they're going to have a, bullpen, committee, right, on Sunday. And you're going to have Shores. So you should have an advantage. You should have an advantage there. Hopefully Shores performs a lot better than his last outing. But you got to go all in for Friday. So you've got to hope that Cade can give you 5 to 7 innings. And if he gives you 7, awesome. You can go to Case and Evans and hope he gets you 6. If he gives you 5, then you can go to Zach Cowan, hope he gives you 2 innings, and then go to Case and Evans to get 3 outs or whatever it may be. I really think you're going to see your 3 best pitchers on Friday: Anderson, Cowan, and Casey. So you got to go all in for Friday. Saturday, I think, that could be a game where LSU slips up. I think if LSU is going to, if there's a spot in this weekend series, if there's a game this weekend that I could see LSU losing, it'd be Saturday. Ianson has struggled a little bit here and there. His last outing was not good. If you pitch Zach Cowan and Kason Evans on Friday, if you go all in on Friday to win that game, then Saturday you're going to be depleted of your two best arms in the bullpen, right? So, do we see Gavin Guidry finally? Who knows? I mean, this feels like a Chris Hilton situation from this past season in football. Like you just,
Man, no kidding.
next weekend, and then before you know it, you're in the last game of the season, and you're going, "Oh, yay! We forgot he was even a thing. We forgot he was even on this team." So, I don't know. Maybe we see Gavin Guidry. That'd be nice. I guess, did you see something with Alabama? You must be watching the Alabama-Tennessee game.
Yes. So I'll interrupt briefly. I'm watching the Alabama-Tennessee game. Alabama's currently up 1 on Tennessee. Tennessee had 2 runners on, no outs. The batter lined out to the shortstop. The guy on first base went too far off the bat, and he threw him out at first because he had taken off too early. So double play, 1 guy on base now. So huge moment for it's in the top of the 8th. So it's a 1-run game in the top of the 8th. You had 2 on, no outs, and that happened. Line out, throw out. Big moment for the Tide.
Yeah,
roll Tide, roll, baby. Never thought I'd be saying that, but
Vanderbilt also won tonight 5-3. So Texas A&M continues to have a absolutely miserable season.
I want to say something, Zach. I want to say something.
Go ahead.
Texas A&M was swept in their own stadium this past weekend to open up SEC play. They are the first team ever to start preseason number 1 and fall out of the top 25 by March. If this team does not make it in the NCAA tournament, this guy's one and done. This guy is one and done. That team is stinking loaded, Zach.
They are. They're loaded. Yeah.
There's a lot of talent on that team. A lot.
Yeah, they got a lot of talent.
And Jim Schlossnagel's over here at Texas, and he's got them ranked 8th overall, and almost nobody came with him to Texas. Like, no players almost, like, left A&M and followed him there. And here he is. I'm not saying they're a top 10 team. I honestly think they're a bit overrated. However, they're far better than Texas A&M is right now.
Reagan, don't say they're overrated. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Oh, gosh.
I don't think Texas is the thing is, I don't think Texas is super overrated. I think they're slightly overrated. I think Texas is about 15. I think they should be ranked about 15. Well, but they just swept Mississippi State on the road. A&M got swept in their own stadium.
Yeah.
I think he's one and done.
Well, Reagan, we will for sure find out this weekend what happens with LSU. But as I said, you got to win Friday. I think LSU is going to throw their best arms on Friday. I think you're going to see Cowan. I think you're going to see Kason Evans after Anderson.
I agree.
If you're going to lose a game, I think it's Saturday, and then I think you're going to be you're going to have enough arms, and Texas pitching is going to have gotten to the bottom of the barrel on Sunday. I think LSU will win that game. On the backs of a little bit better pitching depth and a really good offense. I think LSU gets 2 of 3 on the weekend, Reagan. I think they win Friday, lose Saturday, win on Sunday. And I think that's a successful weekend on the road at Texas. If LSU goes out there and sweeps, Reagan, holy cow, that'd be awesome. I would be disappointed if they lost 2 out of 3. I definitely think you are the more talented team. I definitely think that the matchups really favor you on that Friday and Sunday game. And I also think that your offense should be able to do enough to win 2, possibly the 3 games. So if you lose 2 out of 3, I'd be a little upset, but I wouldn't be super surprised. It is on the road, as you mentioned, Reagan, and there is a lot of factors that go into this with a lot of guys having their first, right?
Yep.
It being their first time going into a major matchup like this. So I also wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, we're falling apart. Like, you're going on the road in the SEC top 10 matchup against a historically really good team with a really good coach, as you can obviously tell because of what's happening at Texas A&M, as Reagan has mentioned. So wouldn't be surprised. I could see them winning Friday and then losing the next two, or losing the first two and you win on Sunday. So we'll see, Reagan. I do think LSU gets 2 out of 3. I think Friday is really close. I think Saturday is probably a close game as well, and Texas probably, has a big inning somewhere in there that is able to catapult them, and they win by a couple of runs or so. And then Sunday, I think it's going to be an offensive onslaught, and then I think there's going to be a lot of scoring for both teams, and LSU just outscores Texas on Sunday.
I like that. I track with that line of thought pretty well. I think that's a good evaluation of how things could certainly play out, and I'll agree with you. I'm gonna. I know you've already said it, but I'm gonna tag along with you. I'm gonna say LSU takes 2 out of 3 and drops Saturday as well. I think Sunday. Honestly, I think Sunday could be a blow away for LSU.
Okay.
I hope so. Knock on wood, but. I think LSU takes 2 out of 3. I think Sunday is the game where they kind of run away with it. We'll see, though. We'll see. Big test, no doubt. Really looking forward to it. It's always exciting, like the build of the season, right? You've had non-conference. We started with Mizzou last week, and so it wasn't quite the big bang. Like, this is really it, though. Going on the road in Austin, big-time matchup, top 10 matchup. I'm really excited. Let's go. Bama gets out of the inning, strike out. They're 3 outs away from knocking off Tennessee.
There you go. We need to get to a break, Reagan.
Yes.
When we get back, let's get to some comments. And then when we do get back, let's discuss LSU women's going to be playing this Saturday night, late Saturday night. And then obviously maybe some more March Madness. Maybe we can keep checking out Tennessee, Alabama, what's going on there. Obviously, a lot of LSU fans right now cheering against the team in orange. So we'll be back with y'all right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
Right back at it. Right back in it here in the Tigers Avenue show. Zach, there is a bunch of comments we need to get to, and then we'll roll on with March Madness.
Yeah, Lucian says the field is a prime example. Texas field is a prime example of what it should not be. All that oil money from the alumni, and they go and get a great value field.
I agree.
Ryan says Lee Brazian at 30 has been really solid defensively. Yeah, I would agree. I think Reeves has been really solid defensively too. I think there's been maybe 1 or 2 times he's botched the ball. Lucian also said me going to college at McNeese. Let's go Pokes. Okay, there you go. Lucian, he goes to McNeese. Ethan Fry is a freak. Rose Pine, Louisiana boy. Awesome. Tyler Townsend says this weekend is big boy ball. I think Reagan even said that earlier. It definitely is, Ryan. Tyler. Ryan says Texas has a really good 1 through 5 lineup, but they do have a lot of strikeouts. I think he even mentioned, let's see, where was it? Yeah, Texas has around 150 strikeouts this year. So, yeah, they strike out a lot, but
LSU strikes out, I believe, the least in the SEC.
Yeah. Tyler Townsend agrees with us. You have to win on Friday. Anderson has to go 6. talent doesn't always win games. Yes, we
True.
talked about that. Similar to Texas A&M.
I think that's what he was saying. I think that cop popped up when we were talking about A&M.
Yeah. I mean, like
Man.
Texas A&M, similar to what we talked about earlier with LSU women's basketball last year, right? So
Man, I'd love if Anderson could go 6. If he gets you through 6, that'd be fantastic.
he said, "I'm not going to say roll tide, but go Tigers."
There you go. I love it. I love it.
Ryan also says, "I'm hoping for a sweep, but I do think it's 2 out of 3. Not taking up for them, but big players.
Yeah.
Big players out will kill a season." Talking about A&M being injured.
Yeah. Gavin, I will say Gavin, I think his last name's Grohovac or something like that.
Gavin Grohovac.
He is out for the season. I will say that's a big loss. I mean, he had a big year last year. I don't know of anybody else other than that, though. But you can't be a team that relies on one guy. You know what I mean? You can't. Like, that team is talented enough that they should not be this bad.
Yeah, that's true.
With
that
the
is
loss of
very true.
one major player.
That
like,
is true. If you have Gavin Grohovac, maybe they have some more wins. But even if you have Gavin Grohovac, I think you're not winning every single one of the games that they've lost.
Because let me put it this way. Losing Gavin Grohovac is like LSU losing Danny Dickinson. And if LSU loses Danny Dickinson, you're probably putting Tanner Reeves in there. And it's like losing Danny would really, really stink. But if you plug Tanner Reeves in there and he becomes the everyday second baseman and he assimilates, like, this team would still win a lot of stinking games.
Yeah.
Even without Danny. Anyways.
Probably so.
But I do losing Gavin is a big loss for A&M.
Yep.
I agree. March Madness, Zach.
Well, March Madness on the women's side of things, LSU will take on San Diego State this Saturday night at 9:15 p.m. And good news to hear from Kim Mulkey that both Flage and Anissa are healthy. They are being super uber over cautious, keeping them in boots until they play, which I mean, completely understand that, but really, really big matchup for LSU to begin, the March Madness season. And luckily you get to, I guess I shouldn't say really big matchup, but I mean, it's the first round, right? So there's a lot of excitement in the air. And as far as it's a big matchup, as far as excitement, it's going to be at home, all those different things. You're going to have Flage and Anissa back. I mean, there's going to be a lot of that excitement, right? So LSU, though, is heavily favored in this game, about a 24.5-point favorite. ESPN Analytics has LSU at almost a 99% chance to win this game.
No.
98.8% chance to win this game. So if you lose this game, it's going to be pretty bad.
I mean, it's March. It's March. I will say this, Zach, and I'm not hating on women's basketball, but women's basketball doesn't have near as many upsets as what's men's does. It pretty much, like, there are times when a lower seed wins, or a higher seed, I guess you say, a higher seed wins. But it's typically like when you get to about Elite Eight, you're not seeing a 14 seed beat a 3 seed almost ever in the women's tournament.
Yeah. It's definitely more top heavy for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But so see if you can stay up late, Tiger fans, on Saturday night.
Late one.
For the LSU women's game. I'll be excited to get to see Flage back. I feel like she's gonna come out guns a-blazing, just
that'd be awesome.
Ready to play. I'm trying to think, Reagan, when their next game would be. I'm trying to see when their next game would actually be. Let's see here. I'm not sure. It probably doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really. Let's see. Region 1, Spokane, first round. Let's see. So it'd be Region 1, Spokane, second round.
Probably on Monday. Monday.
Either Sunday, either Sunday. Well, I don't know. There's a second round game on Sunday. It probably would
Yeah.
be Monday. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there's another. Yeah. So most likely Monday, LSU, if they win, they would play again against either Florida State or George Mason. That game is predicted to be a lot closer than the LSU game is. So kind of expect Florida State to win, as we talked about. Women's college basketball, really top heavy. So you would expect Florida State to win, but don't be surprised if George Mason does. Don't be surprised if on Monday you're playing George Mason. So LSU's got to get these first two. Obviously, we'll probably end up going as far as podcast goes, Reagan. We'll see, but I would imagine we'll probably end up either going late on Monday or going late on Tuesday, as depending on the baseball game, which I'm assuming LSU plays again on Tuesday. LSU baseball.
Yeah, if they play, let's say if they play Tuesday at 6:30ish and it becomes a blowout, we'll just roll normal time. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably is what we'll do.
Which the women's game, if it starts as late as it going
That's true.
to
Maybe we
Saturday
can
night, if
go
it starts
beforehand.
super late Monday, we might just go ahead and do a show maybe a little bit earlier on Monday, so we can get our normal day in. So, anyways, that's besides the point. We'll let y'all know about all that. But yeah, Reagan, big matchup for LSU. As we begin to look at the tournament, some really key things that I like that are in favor of LSU that I think you're more set up to make a deeper run this year than you were last year.
Yeah.
Last year you had the talent. We already talked about that earlier on in the podcast. You had the starting five was just elite. But after that, Reagan, you didn't have anybody. Not really. You didn't really have anybody. I mean, you had some really young players that came in and gave you some minutes. Last year Poe was kind of in there. Samaya Smith was on injury. You had the injuries. So you did not have the depth that you have this year. This year you've got a lot of depth. And this year also, because of the injuries that you had to Flau'jae Johnson and Issa Mara, you've had players that have gotten a lot of experience. I mean, Miracle Shepherd and has gotten a lot of experience. And Jada Richard has gotten a lot of experience. Aaliyah Del Rosario and Samaya Smith have gotten some more experience. And last year, Poe has got some more playing time because of the injuries that LSU had throughout the end of the SEC season and into the SEC tournament. So that favors LSU. Having a team that has more depth, I think that is going to be super beneficial for this team as far as making a deeper run into the postseason. Now, I'm trying to remember exactly, Reagan. When did LSU get put out last year? Was it the Sweet 16?
I believe it was.
Or Elite 8, somewhere in there?
I believe it was Sweet 16.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I know they had to go face Iowa. They had to go play Iowa. And it was a close game, but Iowa, obviously, Caitlin Clark's last year was able to win that game in Caitlin Clark's last year.
Yeah,
and it's crazy that I barely remember that game. I'm
pretty sure it's Sweet 16, but let's see.
So
yeah, it was Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. Okay, so you have a real shot, Reagan, to make it to the Elite 8 this year. You have a really good shot to make it to the Elite 8.
Yeah.
First two games at home. Then if the lower seeds win out, you'll face NC State. And NC State is a really favorable matchup for LSU. As I mentioned in the last podcast, they're a team that you've already played this season, and you blew the doors off of them.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that's going to be the same case, but it's a good matchup for you there in the Sweet 16. So you have a real shot to make it farther than you did last year. LSU's just got to be able to, number one, limit the turnovers. They've struggled with turnovers this year. Number two, be really consistent on offense, because they have had times where they went through really bad offensive slumps during games, and we've seen whenever they're playing at their best, I mean, they're very dominant
Yeah.
offensively. But they've been a little bit inconsistent at times. So LSU's got to be really consistent offensively. And a part of that, obviously, is limiting the turnovers. We know defensively what they can be. Defensively, they're good. I mean,
Yeah.
Coach Starkey has really coached them up, and they've been really good defensively throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
So, really, it's offensively for this team. They've got to be able to be consistent throughout an entire 40 minutes. And if they can do that, Reagan, in this tournament, LSU is going to be very dangerous with the depth, with the big three. LSU could really make some noise
No doubt.
throughout the tournament.
I think an expectation, Elite Eight, I think is kind of the expectation right now. Based on everything and the way the draw is working out, I would say Elite Eight would be a success, and anything more than that would be fantastic. So
yeah,
Zach, in other news around March Madness, Missouri has been upset, losing to the 11 seed Drake Bulldogs.
Okay,
Missouri takes an early exit along with Clemson. So that's a 12 seed that beat Clemson, the 5 seed, and Drake knocks out Missouri, 11 seed, 6 seed.
Bama's 2 outs away.
They have one on. Tennessee has one on. Gonzaga beat the brakes off of Georgia.
They did. That game was crazy.
Brakes off of Georgia. I picked McNeese, Dad. I see Dad in there. He said he picked Drake. I picked McNeese to beat Clemson, and that happened. So the only thing is I also picked Kansas to beat Arkansas, and Arkansas won. I knew I should have picked Creighton. I don't know why, but I picked Louisville. I should have picked Creighton. My gut said Creighton, but I picked Louisville because of Pat Kelsey and the attention he's drawn with the media this year. I went with Louisville. That's just stuck with my gut. Creighton is a good tournament team.
They're always good.
But anyways.
He said, I regret picking VCU.
Yeah.
You want to hear something crazy, Reagan?
Tell me something crazy.
Did not do a bracket this year.
That's wild.
Yep.
Bama just threw out the runner.
Oh, they tried to steal second.
They tried to steal, and he threw him out.
Wow. So they're down to their final out with nobody on.
He threw him out by a mile. I don't know why he even went. That was a bad run.
Should we hang on for just a little bit longer to see if Tennessee goes down?
What a throw. I mean, that was they nailed him.
I guess let's hang on for a little bit to see if they can get the final out. If it gets a little too extended and Tennessee starts, extending it, and then we'll
Two outs. Nobody
Ryan
out.
said, as far as the women's go, he's expecting Sweet 16.
Okay.
So are you expecting to? So I guess he's expecting us to get to the Sweet 16 and not advance farther than. Okay.
I guess lose to NC State.
That'd be losing to NC State. Yes.
Most likely.
Yeah, most likely. If NC State can win their
viewing it. Yeah, clearly. Okay. Yeah. They reviewed the call. He was clearly out. They confirmed it already.
Ryan said, I don't even know why I fill out a bracket anymore.
It's fun.
Yeah.
All right. It's fun.
I honestly, Reagan, I just didn't take the time to do it. Like, usually I do it, but super busy today at work. I was going to try to see if I could do one today, before the games got going, and just
all game.
Ball
game. Flies out to right. Bama takes the first game of the series against Tennessee. Zach, never mind. I'm not going to say it.
Don't say anything. No,
I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it. Anyways.
We're going to say that Tennessee is the O word?
No. I'm not. I don't think they're overrated. They are very, very, very young. I was watching them against Florida this weekend, And everybody's like, holy cow, this Tennessee team just ran through Florida. And I was like, they literally had 4 of the 9 starters in their lineup were freshmen. True
Wow,
freshmen.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So I think they're going to go through some growing pains at time. Like, I think the heat of this SEC is going to get to them every now and then. I don't think they're overrated. I think they're a very good team.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be some teams that gets to them because of their age. Anyways. Well,
Tennessee falls.
That was perfect timing.
There you go.
Tennessee falls again. 2 games in a row.
2 games in a row.
The only undefeated team in the nation, and now they've lost 2 in a row to East Tennessee State and Alabama.
Hopefully,
love
we will be saying the same after tomorrow night about another team who had a really good winning streak going but lost Tuesday night.
That's right.
Hopefully, they'll lose Friday night as well.
That's right. All right, guys. Ryan, Tyler, Dad, all you being in here. Appreciate you guys and all your comments as always. And Lucian as well.
Lucian joined us
in here. Lucian as well. Appreciate you being in here, buddy. As always, big weekend coming up tomorrow night, 7:00 in Austin, LSU versus the Texas Longhorns. LSU's had good success in recent history against Texas. Let's hope that trend continues this weekend. And we'll be back here next week, Monday, Tuesday, depending on the time of the game with the women's. We'll see. We'll let you know, but we'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue Show. Bob's here. Take us out. Peace.